Scooby-Doo, Scooby-Doo, Scooby-Doo.
On this episode of the History of the Course podcast with Curtis and Josh, we finish our look at the band from Tampa, Florida, known as Underoath. Make sure to follow us on Twitter at IsSurvivedByPro for news and the latest episode postings. Make sure to subscribe to the show, leave us a 5-star review, and write us a comment on YouTube or whatever podcast service you're using. Make sure to check us out on TikTok and give us a follow at IsSurvivedByProductions. And if you'd like to see us do some live streams, leave us a comment or tweet us the keyword stream. Now, without further ado, let's start the show.
The devil is in Atlanta, army surrounded.
I'm planning a revolution inside my head. I'm planning a revolution when I break free. I call for annihilation. Describe the sunlight so I can feel its burn. If only I could get up from this bed. I don't know what they told you, but this place, it's not what you think. Reset, rewind. Living inside a hole, they put me underground, where they can never find me unless they dig me out. Welcome back to the History of the Course podcast, sponsored by the Church of the Seven Track, where each and every episode we take a look at the history of a band from the core genre. I'm Curtis, and with me, as always, is my co-host, Josh. What's going on, Josh?
What up?
What up? Salute to you. Hello. 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 What's up?
No, just the last chapter of a band that usually ends in disappointment. Usually, you get one good one out of the last block,
Yeah.
with the exception of He Is Legend, Every Time I Die. There's a couple of them I can think of, but even bands that we really like Cancer Bats.
It's falling off the
tough
edge.
listen at the end. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a tough one, man.
But I will say that I didn't find this as painful as I thought it was going to be.
I agree.
I think I've stated many times that disambiguation is up there for me. I know you don't feel quite the same as I do about it, but
I love disambiguation. It's not my
Okay.
favorite, but I love it. Yeah.
yeah, it's up there for me. It's hard to call or just say that one's your favorite when they're only chasing safety or define the great line exist.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, I agree. Josh, here in the States, it's Thanksgiving week. We're two thankful people, right? We're thankful, right?
I
I'm
like to
thankful.
think
I don't
so.
know about you. I like to think so. You know what I'm thankful for, Josh?
What?
Oh, okay. I was waiting for your call. Hello.
I thought you
Josh,
were continuing, guys.
I am thankful for a brand new episode of the Throne of the Dragon podcast. Would you like a preview right now?
I would love a preview.
Let's check out that preview right here, right now.
The other two thoughts were that it could have been either Oakheart or Rowan, like one of them sent this girl in to kill him, or could have been Jaharis had somebody sent to do it. I don't know. I lean more towards it being Oakheart or Rowan. They've been out here at odds with Old Town for a while, like watching over these guys, and it's gotten a little ridiculous. We're putting little sculptures together of old Septon Moon's Wang, and it's getting weird. It's getting weird
The
outside Old Town.
Wang.
So I kind of just have this feeling that like they're over it by this point,
Right, yeah.
and it seems likely that they could get somebody in there a lot easier and quicker than Jaharis could. So that's kind of the way I lean. I don't know. What do you think?
Well, I mean, I would think that the deal again of like their the description, like nobody could come together on like a repetitive description of the woman makes me lean towards the faceless men of Bravos, and maybe Michael Keane too. But yeah,
The
no,
o- the only thing about that was that she like they kind of go out of their way to make everything look like an accident. Like that's their
this is
thing.
true. Yeah,
They're
that's
not just
true.
like out there like faceless man, stabbing people up.
Ah!
It's
That's true.
usually a very quiet thing. So that was the only thing about it that kind of made me think, but I don't know, maybe she went there with the intent of it just being the wine and something happened in there and she wound up slitting his throat, I mean, it seems to be a reason, she brought the poison wine. Maybe that
Right.
was plan A and what happened was plan B. So,
She didn't think she was going to have to go to Plan B because she didn't realize she was going to have to sleep with him,
oh God.
not the Wang.
All right.
You told me I didn't have to see the Wang. Josh, on a scale to 1 to 10, how was my impersonation of Bran?
Oh, that was on point. I,
Oh,
I
on
also
point.
laughed. I also laughed pretty hard at the picture you sent me where you were tapped into the Weirwood
Did you
network.
like that? Did you like that,
Yeah,
man?
that was pretty great. You should if you have it, you should post that on our Twitter for sure.
Uh, cool, man. Cool, cool, cool. Yeah, if you're interested, if that piqued your interest at all, go check out the brand new episode of the Throne of the Dragon podcast, the year of the three, 1, 2, 3 brides. All right, Josh. As always, tradition here on History of the Chorus podcast, we like to talk about an album or albums, maybe some discography from one band or whatever that we listened to this week. I will go ahead and start real quick here. I went ahead and jumped ahead and gave a little appreciation to the next band that we're going to talk about, the Devil Wears Prada.
Oh,
And huh?
I said, oh,
Oh, and so I listened to 818,
ah,
and I've never listened to this one before.
oh,
I
really?
had it, yeah, I had it, and I never really listened to it before. I think I've heard like a couple of songs off it, maybe, but like never like front to back. And Devil Wears Prada is one of those bands too that were like I knew of them and I knew some stuff, and I was really big into like Zombie EP and Dead Throne, but that was really the extent of it. They just never really pulled me in, all the way. And so I'll be interested to do this next 3 episodes on the Devil Wears Prada. But I really enjoyed this one. It's a good one front to back. It flows really well. Um, yeah, not much else I can say about that for now.
They have a pretty good run there of albums where every song is great.
Is it
Uh,
zombie through what transit?
I would even throw Roots Above and Branches Below in there.
Okay.
That one through at Transient, it starts to fall off a little bit. Or Transit.
Okay.
Yeah, it starts to fall off a little bit there for me. There's like
Did
some
you
misses, but
you enjoyed Space though, didn't you? Space
oh
CP?
yeah. No, I
Okay.
think we were on the same page that we really like those concept EPs.
Yeah.
And I haven't
Yeah, we
listened
really
to
do.
Zombie 2, so
Me either. No, we were both kind of holding out on that one to see. I think it'd be kind of cool, like you said earlier, to do a back to back, just listen through.
yeah, 1 then
So
2.
yeah, exactly. So all
Wonder if they
right,
sync up
Josh.
at all.
I don't know. I don't know. I mean, it'd be cool if they did. I'd be on board for that 100%. You'd
You
already
can
have
at
my seal of
least
approval, man.
you can at least kind of feel the story continuing.
Right. Yeah. I would agree. I would almost think like have you seen the album artwork?
I haven't.
I would almost think that like the album artwork gives it like a sign of like like your first one is like the outbreak and the beginning stages of it all happening. And then like your second one, just from the album artwork, looks like it's kind of like the aftermath and like, trying to figure out where to go from here,
Okay.
type of
The
thing.
rebuild.
Yeah, yeah, kind of a rebuild thing. Because I think if I remember correctly, it's kind of like it's like a building and there's like overgrown like grass and trees are into the building and stuff like that. I
Okay.
could be wrong about that, but I from memory, I think that's what it looked like. But anyway, what about you, Josh? What say you? What did you listen to this week? What piqued your interest?
Well,
What wet your willy?
oh my. Um, I was on the electronic side over here.
Nice.
Uh,
Guys, airplanes.
I think you know that these have long been some of my favorite bands, especially to go see.
I did not know that about Sky Eats Airplane.
Okay, yeah, I've seen Sky Eats Airplane a
Did
few
not know that.
times.
Okay.
I've seen Arsonist Get All the Girls a couple times.
Yeah. I knew you were big on Arsonist. I just didn't know Sky.
Yeah,
You were that big.
Dance Club Massacre. So bands like that.
Okay.
If I remember right, Blue Eyed Boy Death Machine had keys as well. Oh no, it wasn't Blue Eyed Boy Death Machine. It was Fall of Kid Icarus.
Oh, okay. I remember that name.
Yeah,
Nice.
but yeah, it's
What's the
every,
Sky? What's the Sky? Yeah. What's the album for Skies? Sky
everything
Eats Airplane.
perfect on the wrong day.
Okay.
Yeah, and then Arsonist is the Game of Life.
It's the game of life, buddy. Welcome to the
Yeah,
game of life.
they don't have a
You
bad
think you
one.
know about it? You don't know about the game of life.
No,
They what?
I love how they end the album that way.
Yeah.
With those things, you think you
Yeah.
know, but
You
we,
think you
yeah, you
know
think you
about it?
know, yeah, but
We
we
know
know
about
about
the
the
game of life.
so good.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, they really didn't have a down point for me. I think my least favorite one was Motherland.
By Arsonist.
Yeah, that was their third, if I remember right, fourth. Yeah, Motherland and Portals were just kind of like they're good albums, but Game of Life, Hits from the Bow, and Listen to the Color. That's where it's at.
Yeah. Those other two are
Listen,
just kind of there.
yeah, I mean they're good. There's just
Right.
not,
That's what I mean by that. It's like they're good. I don't they're not throwaways, but they're just kind of there in the discography.
yeah, and they're together, which was kind of weird because it's Game of Life and Hits from the Bow, which were both
Right.
great. Then you've got Portals, then Motherland, then they go out on their own and do their, they completely produce and record Listen to the Color by themselves.
Right.
And they do some kind of cool stuff on that. They bring back, because their first vocalist was Game of Life and Hits from the Bow, I believe. They had another one that was similar, and he was already in the band, I think. So it was kind of an easy transition. It wasn't like they brought in a whole new guy, I don't
Brand
think.
new. Yeah.
But they have him doing dual vocal, like their original vocalist doing dual vocals, at least on a couple of songs on that album.
Oh, okay. That's
So,
interesting.
yeah.
Nice. Cool, man. That's a classic throwback, man. Arsonist got all the girls. Back in
Mm.
the day. Back in the day, man. Cool, cool, man. You ready to get down to business? Close the chapter?
Believe so.
Alrighty, man. Let's go ahead and finish our look at the band known as Underoath. So when we last left off in part two, they had released Lost in the Sound of Separation. Aaron Gillespie had announced his departure from the band and he would play his final show in Milan, Italy with the group. Now, a quick turnaround here. Daniel Davison, he is a good friend of the band. He actually did dual drums on Lost in the Sound of Separation emergency broadcast song. along with Aaron Gillespie. We talked a little bit about that, about how you can kind of hear it. It's kind of
You could
interesting.
definitely hear it.
Yeah. So anyway, good friend of the band. So quickly after the departure of Aaron Gillespie on drums, the band would turn to longtime friend of the band, Daniel Davison, who added drums, like I said, to a song on the band's previous album, Desperate. Oh, excuse me. It was Desperate Times. It was a Desperate Times, Desperate Message. No, I thought it was Emergency Broadcast. Why did I put Desperate Times? I could have swore it was Emergency Broadcast. Anyway, he did something.
He was
He
there.
did something all right. He was
He
there.
contributed.
Yeah. So soon after Daniel Davison's entrance into the group, the band would enter the studio for their next album. And then when I say that, I mean like a month after he joined the group, they were like, "All right, let's go." So very quick turnaround there. And that is 2010's Disambiguation from Tooth and Nail Records, produced by Matt Goldman and Jeremy Griffith. They both did work on Lost in the Sound of Separation with the band. Yeah, this is the only album for Daniel Davison on drums. Fun fact for you, Josh, a contest involving the single, which was the second song on the album, Catching Myself, where the band uploaded all tracks except vocals and encouraged fans to take the lyrics provided for the song and come up with their own vocals and upload to YouTube, where the winner would get shirts, stickers, a guitar from the In Division music video, and much more. So kind of an interesting little contest there where you upload the song or you share it basically with
Just the
your fans,
music, though.
but just the music. No, you take out the vocal track. You hand over the lyrics to the fans, and they get to put their own melody to the lyrics with the song. So that's kind of interesting.
That is.
I'm sure there's probably at times probably a lot of crappy ones, but there probably is some interesting ones as well, though.
So the lyrics to Catching Myself were fan made?
No. So he'd written, so they record the song.
Yes.
They give them all the tracks except for the vocals, and they give them the lyrics. Underoath gives the fans the lyrics and say, "Hey, put this to the music in your own style or your own way, in your own creative way." So, and then
I thought you were saying that they
no. And then they would pick a winner out of all those contestants, and then the winner would get a bunch of basically a prize pack. So I thought that was pretty cool. Wayne Reimer of JesusFreeHotL.com wrote in his review of the album. Clear the throat here. Quote, "Disambiguation jumps down out of nowhere at the beginning of the album. In Division pulls no punches. In a swift move, they display exactly what we're dealing with in the very first track. A gritty fusillade of grunting guitars and dark harmonies to deliver Spencer Chamberlain's wide vocal range on a silver platter. For the first time ever, we get to experience the entire arsenal that Chamberlain has to offer. It's not just the deafening highs and lows we already love, but eerie, purposeful singing as well. It's a dignified mess, raw and honest. It's dark and dreary, but with excitement mixed in without the two canceling each other out. A groovy bass line introduces Catching Myself, and then plunges headlong into complete chaos. There's so much going on at once that it sounds like there are about 6 or 7 guitars splaying out in quick succession. The experience is like a musical war zone. Nice. That's a good description. The quiet ensnares your attention just as well as the loud, and before you know it, the war zone is back with just enough intensity to bring you to tears. Paper Lung takes a step back with simpler force, like the soundtrack to Distant Carnage. Davison clearly brings more than his oddball drumming to the mix. He's a brilliant menace, but carries a vibe that transferred over from his Norma Jean stint. It wouldn't be a far stretch to compare Disambiguation to Norma Jean's recent full-length Meridional. Apparently, old Norma Jean drummer plus Underoath equals new Norma Jean. Chris Dudley's electronic maintenance to the music retains the Underoath in it. However, Driftwood carries you off into a strange sound mesh that melts the music away until only ambience and Davison's off-time beats remain. The long interlude drifts off and then is trampled by a divine eradication, aptly named. This track reassembles some violence and remembers Underoath at its finest. He's going to finish his review by saying, quote, "Disambiguation heralds the biggest shift in sound for the band in a long time and perhaps begins a new regime as well. Regardless, every aspect is top-notch. The chaos is instigated by professionals and controlled for your enjoyment. Chamberlain's full vocal range is a surprise since he has rarely, if ever, contributed such beautiful and haunting calls. On top of it, his screams and yells have reached a new pinnacle, swinging freely high and low. Davison's drumming doesn't vary too much from Gillespie's, but he certainly brings more than drums to the table in musical influence. Teague, Brandel, and Smith intertwine their guitar work masterfully to both confuse and captivate. And of course, Dudley's keyboards and synths are the cherry on top, steeping every note in one more layer that makes them Underoaths. Not since Define the Great Line has Underoath sounded so honest. Disambiguation delivers in every area that counts: improvement, teamwork, professionalism, and entertainment. Yeah. Songs on this album include In Division, Catching Myself, Paper Lung, Illuminator, Driftwood, A Divine Eradication, Who Will Guard the Guardians, Reversal, Vacant Mouth, My Deteriorating Incline, and the finale in Completion. Josh, I know you love this album, but dive a little deeper into why you like it.
I think I've probably talked about this album enough on the last episode, but to me, he said in the article that I think he kind of felt like you did, that this is more a part of the next kind of cycle, that this is kind of the beginning of where they go for Erase Me and Voyeurist. But to me, I see it as like the end result of where we were going since Define the Great Line.
I think it's both. In my opinion, I think it's both.
Okay.
I agree with what you said because you explained it very well in the last episode. Check it out. Go back and listen to that episode if you want to hear Josh's opinion. But at the same time,
I mean, that's ultimately it in a nutshell, is that was my big take that I probably spent 15 or 20 minutes talking about, was that it's the culmination of what's been building since Define the Great Line. The gradual darker riffs, the lower tuning, the off timing of everything. Somebody's always off time, and it's on purpose. It gives that like creepy element to it. So, the music videos start to get darker. And so that's why, to me, this is like kind of the end stage of that. It's like it's the final form, because it kind of takes that hard turn towards what'd you call it earlier?
Arena core.
Yeah, arena core. It kind of takes that turn.
Arena core.
Erase Me and Voyeurist. So
it is trademarked, by the way. Do not copyright me. It's trademarked.
Serious about that.
I'm serious about that. Yeah, and I was gonna say, and Tim's V-necks keep getting longer and longer. So
yeah, it's the final form of the V. It's basically the belly button's out. It goes to like just below the belly button.
I swear there was one. I'd see him on like a documentary or something on one of the several DVDs that they'd done where, yeah, his V-neck was almost to his belly. It's like, bro, get a new shirt. That one is worn out. Oh man, he's got all that hair too.
They make super deep V-necks.
They do,
like crazy deep. Yeah,
yeah, they do. So I said, I think it goes both ways. I agree with what you're saying. I think it built up to this where we were coming from, Define the Great Line. I do 100% agree with that. But I think the thing that lends to where we're going next is what we first see on this album. it's all Spencer. He has control of everything. He, in terms of the vocals and the lyrics, you know,
Yeah.
whatchamacallit is gone. Aaron's gone. And so, he's in full control of like, okay, I mean, we're going down this dark path where over these last few albums where I think like he's pouring more of his own struggles and whatever he's got going on, maybe addictions or whatever, vices into it. And it's getting darker and darker and darker. And I feel like by the time we get to these last two albums, it's very like, I mean, there's barely any Aaron singing on it. It's full blown Spencer,
Yeah.
you know. So I think that's the part where I'm kind of like, yes to what you're saying, but yes to it. It's also leading into the next chapter. It's kind of like we're at a fork in the road almost, you know.
Yeah.
So
The
I don't
last
know.
two to me just feel very detached from the rest of this.
Right. They are.
There's
They
like
are.
elements that come through where I'm like, oh, like that sounds like something off of Disambiguation or The Sound of Separation, but I just I don't know, it never goes it never gets fully into it.
Yeah. I think one of the things too on these next ones are they're both so like, I don't think it's like washed out, but it's like, I mean, they're heavily produced compared to the ones we've talked about before, that's kind of the trend that we're on now with in metalcore. It's arena core.
Arena
Yeah.
Core.
Arena core trademark. So yeah. I've talked about two of my notes so far. My last note here is I remember when it first came out, I was a senior in high school. I was pretty devastated, pretty bummed about Aaron leaving the band. And I was really kind of like unsure. It's like, what's this gonna sound like, man? Because I really felt like at that time that Aaron was a backbone to Underoath. It's kind of like Underoath without Aaron. That just doesn't seem right.
Yeah.
And when it came out, I was very pleasantly surprised at how good it was without Aaron. Because I really didn't think I was gonna like it, but I really did enjoy it. I had, oh, I think I actually have a copy. Maybe. Let me look real quick. Banter.
Yeah, I think mainly after, so like you were saying, Aaron's gone. I wanted to see who the new drummer was going to be. It's Daniel Davidson. So I was like, I hadn't really heard of him. So I looked him up, and like they were saying in the article, he does Meridional with Norma Jean. And so that I felt like gave me some hope. Like it gave me some confidence that this might be okay. And then, yeah, like I said in the last episode, this ends up being one of my favorite Underoath albums because it has all those classic elements. And then we decided to add in these new darker elements, especially musically. That's kind of what, that's what it does for me. But I don't necessarily agree with the article saying that old Norma Jean drummer plus new Underoath equals new Norma Jean. I don't get Norma Jean vibes off this album at all, except for Daniel Davidson's drumming does remind me of Meridional a little bit. But I don't think as a whole the album sounds anything like even Norma Jean at that time. We talked a lot in the last episode about how Underoath has this sound completely of their own. And until you get to Erase Me and Voyeurist, there's no, for those two albums, they start sounding like bands like Bring Me the Horizon, now. So they
Arena core
do,
trademark.
yeah, they do start to take on a sound that's already there, but all the way up through Disambiguation, it's a sound all their own. Was there
I'm
no
about to
hard
show.
copy?
I'm about to show you something. It's archaic. I have 3 Underoath albums here, children.
I thought
This
you were
is
going to say,
called. This
I
is
have
called.
3 copies of
I have 3
disambiguation. Why do
copies.
you have 3 copies of
Because why
disambiguation?
not? No, I have. They're only chasing safety, which now you can't see it.
Oh, can't see
Great.
it.
That's
I
terrific.
saw it
Yeah.
for
Look
2
at that.
seconds.
Look
There
at
it
that.
is.
Look at the
There it
nose.
is.
And then I have define the great line. Like, where is it at? Why is it not there? Oh well. And then yeah, I have
Uh,
disambiguation. There you go.
There we
Hey, you can
go.
see me too.
Whoa.
Yeah. That's I thought I had that. And I have all 3 CDs too. I mean, they're not just empty.
These are not just shells.
Yeah, they're not just shells, people. I was gonna see if there's anything cool. Ooh, some cool artwork. Ooh, it's like transparent. Whoa, that's pretty cool. There's like transparent paper in here with the lyrics on it. That's actually kind of cool. I
That's
remember
weird.
that. Hmm. Yeah, that's actually kind of cool. You know who made this. Daniel Davison. Got your
Yeah.
fingerprints all over it. Yeah, anyway. Yeah. I wanted to see if maybe his name was on here. Learn music, blah blah blue, hoobity da, deebity doo. No, actually, it's not him that did the album artwork. That's funny. Okay, anyway.
Did you have
Uh
do you have a favorite track on this one?
favorite track, man. One of the things that I will say before I put a gun to my head and pick one. Um the one big thing that I really enjoy about this album is it constantly flows from one song to another. There is no stop in between songs. It is a constant flow, man. Um, man, favorite song. That's tough, dude. I love Paper Lung and Illuminator. Of course, Indivision's a good one. Catch Myself, Catching Myself. You want me to just go ahead and name every song on here? Because I can. No, it's tough, man. I love, and Who Will Guard the Guardians? Machines built by
Built by
machines.
machines. Yeah.
And just the way he delivers it too, man. And that Spencer growl, man. So what about you? Do you have like one specific or like 2? I don't want you to say the whole album.
It'd probably be Illuminator or Who Will Guard the Guardians.
Okay.
I think special mention for Vacant Mouth. Like I really love how they decided to go with the guitar work on that. And it's a really good transition song into the end of the album. Like it goes from being kind of dark in the middle there to coming out the other side a little bit with this like these lighter chords and riffs that are I don't know, it helps to like kind of bridge the gap. Like it's not a complete turn because
Yeah.
there's still like some darker riffs in the song, but I don't know, there's just something about that driving riff from the beginning.
Yeah. I agree, man. It's a great album. It really is, man. It's right up there with, Chasing Safety and Define the Gray Line for sure.
Yeah.
So,
I we talked a little bit about how a band just like reprising a riff on another album can be enough to really hook you for a song, you know?
right.
It's the connection between albums, you know, the possibility of a shared story between those 2 songs.
Put the yarn up. Put the yarn up.
Yeah, I mean, that's the kind of thing that fans are always grasping at. That's why bands like Coheed and Cambria have done so well. Like people love a story, and if the music's great, and they want to know more about what's going on in the story. So
Right, exactly. Yep.
I feel like Underoath missed some opportunities, especially with Erase Me and Voyeurist.
Lawyers.
There's a couple parts where I really thought they were about to reprise like either a riff or some of Chris's synth stuff, like a synth line, you know, that was really recognizable, but that it just never happens.
Right.
And there's a couple moments where it sets it up, like you're like 2 notes off Like if I caught it,
So
how
close.
could you not catch it? And it's a missed opportunity.
Yeah, I agree, man. Well, that's Disambiguation 2010. 2 years after the release of Disambiguation, the band would announce their disbandment along with a new album entitled Anthology 1999 through 2013, which showcased various songs throughout their discography, along with two brand new songs entitled Sunburnt and Unsound. So it's basically two B-sides and a very small sample of like greatest hits. Um, I remember we had talked before years ago about those two new songs, Sunburn and Unsound. I'm gonna tell you, I haven't listened to those two songs in a while until this time around. And I was thinking about it. I was wondering what you think about this. Listening to those two songs, I liked them. They're okay. Um, it feels like what I'm hearing is like a combination of guitar tones and like the melody of the chorus on both of those songs. Maybe it's the way it's like they're sung too. It makes me think of like Seosin and Circa Survive. Do you agree?
Yeah, it's just clean vocals on Sunburnt for sure.
Yeah. Well, even like some of like the clean guitar tones in both those songs at times. Not all the time throughout the song, but there's a couple of times where I'm like, man, that really sounds like Circa Survive.
Yeah, like
You know?
a minute 30 and
Yeah.
there's really heavy um Circa Survive. Like
Yeah.
if his vocals were just tweaked a little bit more, you
If
could
he could
fool
just
me.
like kind of cup the microphone too
Yeah, you
and
could
make
fool
love to
me.
it. um I'm I'm starting to think too that this is kind of a sign too of like where the music was heading and what we're heading towards on like the next two, because it feels like these two songs almost sound kind of mainstreamish, you know?
Yeah, it does sound more radio friendly than their previous stuff.
Right. So
It's got
yeah, I
those
don't know.
Maylene 4 vibes.
Oof, that was rough. We made a
I hear
mistake
it, yeah, if I hear it on
and we
just
admit it.
normal rock radio, there's a problem.
Yeah.
But yeah,
Well,
I think you're
during
right. It
good.
this is those two songs are in retrospect, they were a good gauge for what was coming
Yeah.
next.
Yeah. We didn't heed the warning.
But we didn't listen.
We didn't listen. During their final show, their farewell tour in St. Petersburg, Florida, former drummer Aaron Gillespie would join the band for emergency broadcast. The end is near and reinventing your exit. During this time of hiatus, if we could call it that, they would have called it disbandment. We call it hiatus now that we know what we know. During that time, Aaron Gillespie would continue work on his side project, The Audition, as well as start a new solo project. And I think he just did like, I think it was just like under his name, Aaron Gillespie or whatever. What?
What was his side band?
I'm sorry.
I was like, wait,
You didn't know?
what?
You didn't know? How could you
I
not
mean,
know?
that kid's like redheaded too, isn't he?
I think so, yeah. Almost, not The Audition. And we
Notable
yeah,
mention of the audition.
yeah. That was a good band back in the day. It's pretty good
Yeah,
band.
they've got a couple good albums.
The Almost. Woo. Yeah. His side project, the Almost, and then he started a new solo project with, I think, like I said, I think it was just his name. He just went under his name. And
Yeah,
then Spencer Trim,
didn't Eric say he
he
saw him at Norma Jean, right?
yeah, he was the oddball in that group because it was just like an acoustic set, and like he played, I think he played Southern Weather in full, and then a few like Underoath songs.
Weird,
Yeah, it was. Yeah,
sad.
I told him I was like, yeah, I would probably dip at that point. Anyway, Spencer Chamberlain would also start a new project called Sleepwave. Sleepwave, sleep. Just 2 years after playing their final show, the band would tease a return on social media with the post, "Rebirth is coming," accompanied by a cryptic video containing an audio clip that, when played in reverse, was the chorus off of "It's Dangerous Business Walking Out Your Front Door." On
What? Do
August,
you have this clip?
I don't know. Just go get it yourself and put it on reverse. On August 17th, 2015, the band would play their first show since 2013 on the Self Help Fest. In an interview soon after, the band would confirm they were back. I mean, we couldn't get that from Rebirth is Coming or a cryptic video. Yeah, we're back. Hey, guess what? We're back with the original drummer Aaron Gillespie and new music to follow on a new label. That label, Josh, is Fearless Records. 2018's Erase Me, produced by Matt Squire. This is kind of an interesting thing to kind of note as we continue on this episode, but this album was recorded without James Smith on guitar and Grant Brandel on bass. Now, both of them get credited in the production notes, but neither one of them did any of the recording for their parts on the album. So kind of interesting. And we'll kind of talk about that a little bit later, a little more. Upon announcing the album, the band updated their Spotify biography to read, quote, "The band who once openly and without apology professed their faith-based worldview on stage nightly have since moved beyond the realm of seemingly impenetrable polemics." All music writer Neil Z. Young wrote in his review of the album, quote, "What's wrong? Are you listening to it backwards and is it hurting your ears?" I can't hear you. I can't hear you.
I said that was horrifying.
Are you?
Dude, you can't even hear the music. It's just like vocals and like slowed down.
That's
Do
creepy.
you want to, share real quick? I'll show you real quick. I have it pulled up.
Okay, hold on. Well, that was interesting. It's creepy as all
I
get out.
think
Now, did you do that?
terrifying is what you mean.
I'm gonna have nightmares. Thanks. Did you do that yourself, or did you actually find the?
It was the post.
Oh, he was the
Yeah,
post.
it was the
Okay.
tease. Yeah.
That's creepy.
Yeah.
Okay, let's get back on track here. All music writer Neil Z. Young wrote in his review of the album, quote, "On their first album of original material since 2010's Disambiguation, Florida post-hardcore outfit Underoath cleared the slate with a different sound and outlook. Produced by Matt Squire, who's done work with The Used and Panic at the Disco, Erase Me features plenty of changes that may prove especially divisive for longtime fans. For starters, Underoath shed their Christian label, freeing them from the associated baggage, even at the risk of alienating the fellow faithful. They're also using profanity. Whoa. While God isn't entirely
so
absent,
edgy. She's
yeah,
so
yeah,
edgy.
so edgy, man. They're so cool.
I
While
realized they
God,
were all like 16.
right. While God isn't entirely absent on Erase Me, there's plenty of related disillusionment and frustration. Like me right now. That faith focus is set to the side. In addition to the less overt religious bent, the band have also smoothed out their sound. There's more singing and less blood-curdling bellowing. Past ferocity and darkness have given way to relatively polished sheen and focus. This is not so much a completely unrecognizable band as it is a changed one. Like similar evolutions from genre mates like Bring Me the Horizon, Asking Alexandria, The Devil Wears Prada, and Of a Mice and Men, Underoath still have teeth. The bites are just less bloody and jagged. It has to start somewhere, kicks off the album with an explosive burst of violent but controlled fury before veering headlong into synth programming and an arena-sized, arena-sized chorus on Rapture. Unapologetic, this is the first taste of the rebooted version of Underoath. As if sensing the fan grumbles, they whip back into shape on My Teeth, a towering highlight that features the best synthesis of old and new Underoath. It's a brutal, unrelenting powerhouse. They maintain a similar balance over the course of the album. There are more restrained numbers, some of the softest Underoath tracks to date, like the epic Wake Me, the yearning I Hate It, and the arrogant call for help No Frame. For the old school fans, Underoath obliged with In Motion, the closest they come to their early aughts days. Otherwise, perfectly serviceable standouts like the propulsive Sync With You and the near industrial Hold Your Breath are pit ready tornadoes that should ease the fears that Underoath have lost their edge. Much like their Dallas Spencer era, sound changed with the arrival of Spencer Chamberlain. I don't know. I think he messed up that Dallas. It's supposed to be Dallas Taylor, bro. Dallas Spencer. Dallas Taylor era sound changed with the arrival of Spencer Chamberlain, which then morphed once again over their mid-era progression. Erase Me can be considered yet another radical shift in the band's lifetime of variation, a risk that pays off with an open mind and open ears. Songs on this album included Has to Start Somewhere, Rapture, On My Teeth, which received a Grammy nomination for Best Metal Performance. You also have Wake Me, Bloodlust, Sync With You, I Hate It, Hold Your Breath, No Frame, In Motion, and I Gave Up. We mentioned it earlier. I feel like there's kind of a mainstream to it. We coined the term right here, right now in this very episode, arena core, to go along with hoser core and party core. So, all those are trademarks, so don't even try to use those. I will say that it's not a terrible album, but this album and the next one, they're just not Underoath to me. Obviously we grew up on, I think you're on mute, by the way. We grew up on, obviously the Chasing Safety, Define, Sound of Separation, Disambiguation, and kind of like what you said earlier, it's like these two kind of take a hard left turn, and I don't know. It's just not the same. It just doesn't. They just don't pull me in all the way. I will say there are some catchy songs on there. Specifically for me, Rapture and Hold Your Breath. But yeah, what do you think, Josh?
I think I'm about to read you some lyrics that are the most uninspired crap that Underoath ever put out.
Most
And
uninspired crap.
One of them is from Rapture here.
Okay, let's hear it.
The song starts with Old Familiar Face, That Bitter Taste. She's been hanging around too long. That crooked tongue, so pale, so young. Spencer Chamberlain, you are 40, my man.
Maybe he's talking about something in his past, though.
Maybe. I don't know. But and then the other one that I had pulled up here was from On My Teeth. Let's get this straight. I'm fine without you. I'm not your fucking prey. So save yourself and no one else. What you believe, what you believe, what you believe.
One more time.
Your life is a lie. Get over it. Get over it. Get over it. You got the best of me.
Yep.
We're
mainstream. We're radio friendly.
It's hard to see this happen, especially when you've got Aaron back. You
just said something made me think of something. Forget like what you just said. Turn it more of like, how could this happen? How could we let this happen, people?
Yeah.
What have we done to deserve this?
I was under the impression that hopefully we would be going back to an older sound.
No.
But
You must progress, Josh,
I don't
not to
know.
regress.
To me, if we're
Do you ever
at this
have
point and the bag is empty, then we should have called it quits, you know?
how many songs do you think they came into the studio with? 60?
Mm, I
You
hope
think they
not.
you think they pulled a Devil Wears Prada for the act where they came into the studio with about 60 songs just to record 12? God.
It's definitely easier to churn out songs like this.
Yeah. Do you ever have a band where they go away, you really like them, they go away, and then they come back, and then you just wish they would have stayed gone?
Yeah.
Besides Under Oath,
Oh,
because that's how I
besides
feel.
them.
That's how I feel about Under Oath, man. It's like, it probably would have been better off you guys just went on, did your own thing. Aaron, go do the audition. No, go do the almost. Continue doing what you're doing. Spencer, go do your sleep wave stuff, or whatever. Yeah, but
Yeah, the other
outside of
guys will
Under Oath, is
find.
there?
Yeah. Maylene,
Yeah.
they should have just stayed gone. Like
Well, at this point, yeah. I mean, what do you again? What are we doing? What
it's
are
a
we doing?
Curtis, it is a cash grab, my
Yeah,
friend. This is
apparently, man.
just a cash grab.
Apparently so.
I don't blame him. The
Ridiculous.
dude's had a really bad run of luck, but
Need some money.
like, good God, that is all this is.
Oh boy.
I think a
Do
lot
you
of
have any?
bands tease like, "What are we doing?" and
Yeah.
then just kind of came out for this whole like
What are we
nostalgia.
doing? We don't know. But you should give us money. Maybe we'll be able to tell you.
Yeah,
Yeah. Hmm. Yeah. You have anything else for Erase Me? Because I've said all I could say.
not really. Let me see real quick. I can't remember if it was on this one or Voyeurist that started with the little synth line that I was thinking of.
Thought it was voyeurist, I thought. Because I thought it has to start somewhere was kind of like kicks in pretty quick. I could be wrong.
What the hell?
Oh,
That is the exact same like synth and guitar line. They use it twice. They use it for Rapture and they use it for Wake Me. It's recycled. Two
wait, what?
songs
Wake
later,
Me.
they're
Oh,
already
oh, okay, gotcha. Wait, what?
yeah, two
Oh,
songs
okay, gotcha,
later,
gotcha. Okay, I get what
they're
you're saying
already recycling.
now.
That's
We've
not
run out
how
of
that
ideas.
that's not how that works. You should reprise that on the next album.
Not 2 songs
Wow,
later.
sorry, I like just noticed that. I was like, wait, I just heard that line 2 seconds ago. So I went back to it, like, yep, that's the exact same
Hmm.
one. Yeah, I think it
Hmm.
might be voyeurist.
Okay. Because I was really thinking it has to start somewhere off of Erase Me, just like kicks right in. And I think voyeurist kind of slowly sinks in, like an old man into a hot bath.
Well done.
Thank you. Thank
Yeah,
you.
I think
Appreciate
so.
it.
I I don't know, this album just really left me wanting.
I
Like
yearn.
because like I said, there's elements that I can feel from disambiguation, that I can feel from sound of separation, but it never fully gets in there. Like it dances around it a little bit, but then now we're back to a super heavy synth chorus, that's just very anthemy.
That's the other thing too. I can't remember if it was maybe trying to think if it's in the next um review for Voyeurist. or the next review I'm going to read for Voyeurist, or if it was one that I had read that I didn't use for Erase Me, where somebody compared where they're only chasing safety. There's a lot of like choruses, and then once you get to define the great line, there's really no chorus. It's just a song, and it kind of
Yes.
continues that trend. And they said on these two newest ones, like they kind of get back to that they're only chasing safety, but like in the now age in terms of, well, we got choruses again,
Yeah.
so it's just, unfortunately it's nowhere near they're only chasing safety. So anyway.
Did you listen to the deluxe version of Erase Me?
No, I did not.
I wish I hadn't. That cover of heart-shaped box pissed me off
Oof.
so bad.
Yeah, I saw that and I'm like, yeah, I'm not even going to attempt to find that one. It's like this cannot end well.
I don't like to hear people cover Nirvana, and like especially Nirvana, because
Well, but
nobody's gonna sing it as gritty and as pained as Kurt's going to.
yeah. But again, it's like
And
a band like that, it's like, don't do the obvious ones though. Go do like some really random one that most people do not know of in the
yeah,
song wise.
yeah, you can pay
Like how
homage
many
and not,
how many
yeah,
times has Heart Shaped Box been, covered?
a
I
million
mean, at that
times.
point, it's like, don't just go and do Smell Like Teen Spirit for the love of God.
Yeah,
Ugh.
nuance. We say this
Yeah.
all the time. A little nuance, a little
Yeah,
class.
exactly. Yeah, I think I'm glad I didn't now. So I'm glad I didn't fall for that temptation.
Yeah, that was frustrating.
Unfortunately, there was no temptation. So
I got like maybe a minute in, and I was like, I'm done here.
did they kind of do it in like a heavy style or?
No, Spencer tries to sing it like super softly.
Oh, okay.
It starts with an acoustic guitar, like
Right.
it does. There's kind of like some soundscapes behind it, and then he tries to sing it like he's Billy Corgan, maybe.
Oh boy. This is us doing a Smashing Pumpkins version of Nirvana's Heart-Shaped Box.
Yeah,
What? What? Okay. Hmm. Alrighty. Well, let's move
yeah.
on, Josh.
It's all drums, an acoustic guitar that sounds electric, like it's an acoustic electric, you know?
Okay, yeah.
And
Like they turn
then
any and all distortion off.
yeah, and then like electric drums and synth. I don't know. This is
Weird.
not good. This is not good.
Weird. It's okay. Smashing Pumpkins with Phil Collins meets Nirvana's Heart-Shaped
Okay.
Box, sung
Yeah.
by the guys from Underoath.
Yeah, that's pretty
Is
hit
that
the
is
nail
that
on the
summed up
head.
pretty good?
Yeah.
Nice. Man, I'm on a roll tonight, man. Alrighty. After the newest album was met with mixed reviews from fans new and old of the
We don't
band.
like it.
Yeah, we don't like it, and we like it. Alrighty, let's move on. um, a tour supporting their newest album would commence with Dance, Gavin, Dance. The band would even see time supporting the likes of Korn and Alice in Chains on tour in 2019. Fast forward ahead now to 2022's Voyeurist from Fearless Records. Produced by J.J. Revel and the band. This is the final album for guitarist James Smith. And according to the album's linear notes, bassist Grant Brandel would not play on this album, just like their previous release. This is kind of interesting. Again, just keep that in mind. We're gonna wait till we get to the departure of James Smith, kind of talk a little more about that. But I'm really kind of interested when I read that on this album and the last one. So keep that in mind. To promote the new album, the band played it in its entirety via live stream. The band described the album as high def violence with a technologically advanced but undeniably visceral sound. Take that what you will. While Tim McTague, guitarist, stated, quote, "I've always wanted to record our own album. I think we just needed to get into a headspace personally that would allow criticism and critique to land in a productive and constructive way. We grew so much in a real time, and I think the record speaks to that growth and collaboration. I haven't ever felt this attached to a project in my life." Misha Perlman of Kerrang.com wrote a review of the album stating, quote, "Formed in Tampa, Florida almost 25 years ago, the band have changed their style almost as much as they changed lineups, evolving steadily in that time. The raw death metal tinged brutality of 1999's debut Act of Depression morphed into the more polished melodic screamo of 2004's They're Only Chasing Safety, and the metalcore mayhem 2006's Define the Great Line. And the band continued to mess with the boundaries of those genres as the years went on. After 2010's brutal seventh album, Disambiguation, there was a brief 2-year hiatus in 2013 before the band finally returned with new music in 2018 with the relatively digestible atmospherics of Erase Me, which welcomed back drummer and clean vocalist Aaron into the fold alongside lead vocalist Spencer Chamberlain. Whatever direction those albums and lineups took, however, it was all underpinned by the band's faith, or perhaps more accurately, their struggles with it. That remains true on Voyeurist, which ups the ante on the religiosity, both in terms of imagery and sound. Opener Damn Excuses explodes in wrathful fury, a fire sermon straight from the depths of hell before being followed by the inter-Shikari-esque textures and incarnations of Hallelujah. Elsewhere, I'm pretty sure I'm out of luck and have no friends starts off tenderly and tentatively before its sinister crawl explodes into a caustic, devilish procession of heavy demonic riffs. That's continued immediately with Cycle, a brooding surge of intensity that features a verse by Ghostmane, which only adds to harrowing atmosphere. In fact, it's the chorus of that song, "Darker than heaven, empty as God, there is nothing to live for," that best sums up the overriding existential bleakness that consumes this record. Although We're All Gonna Die gives it a good run for its money. It all leads up to Pneumonia, the album's 7+ minute swan song, the ironic warmth of which lulls you into a false sense of security. It's only as the track reaches its crescendo that you realize that warmth is from the fire and brimstone below, the flames licking at your skin, teasing and taunting you before punishing and engulfing you. Doesn't matter if you believe or not, you end up burned to a crisp either way. Entirely self-produced by the band for the first time, Voyeurist is arguably the most cohesive and coherent record of Underoath's career to date. It's an album that asks profound questions about the meaning of life and death, about the nature and purpose of existence and non-existence, and about the role that faith and religion play in our lives, all the sum of the most punishingly heavy music you'll hear this year. It doesn't offer any solutions, but that itself is answer enough. Songs on this album include Damn Excuses, Hallelujah, I'm Pretty Sure I'm Out of Luck, and Have No Friends. Cycle, featuring Ghostmane, Thorn, No Oasis, Take a Breath, We're All Gonna Die, Numb, and the finale track, Pneumonia. Did you get your fill there, Josh? Did you get a little taste, a little more taste, a little sip? Can't hear you.
Why is this album called Voyeurist?
I don't know. What does voyeurist even mean?
It's a person who likes to watch other people having sex or watching somebody like unknowingly naked.
I'm out.
I'm just like struggling to see why this guy is calling this such a profound album when the
I'll tell you
title
why. Do you want me to
has-
tell you why? Because
Why?
he's a voyeurist.
Okay, maybe. I don't know. The album's
like,
titled
"Yes,
this
this
and
one's for me."
seems to have nothing to do with anything on the album. This is weird. That's odd. I will say in Hallelujah, I do like the "This is fucking hell" breakdown. The timing is just good on it, so it just works really well. Not a big fan of the chanting, though. That's not really playing for me.
Inner Shikari-esque? I don't even think Inner Shikari would touch that, bro. I'll be hating on Inner
What
Shikari people.
what age of Inner Shikari?
That's where I'm kind of like, well, I don't know where. I mean, they have some like interesting sounds, but I just don't think of them when I hear that.
The part that confuses me is that Inner Shikari is good and this is not.
Boom!
So
Face.
that's where I'm having
Yeah.
trouble making the
Yeah, that's
connection.
right. Whoa.
Um, yeah, dude, there's virtually nothing on this one that works for me. I think I don't like the first half of the album for sure. No Oasis does remind me of. Wait, was it No Oasis? Hmm. No, is it? Yeah, it's. I'm pretty sure I'm out of luck and have no friends. Which what the
Okay.
hell kind of name for a song is that? Um,
The heck kind of
it
name is Voyeurs for an album title.
it sure doesn't sound like a song that a 40-year-old man should be writing. Um, it does make me think of the Blue Note a little bit. You know, at the
Okay.
end of it, she's like answering the phone and there's nobody
Hmm.
there. She's like, hello, hello, hello. But on this time, it's the other side of the phone that is answering, but nobody's answering on this side. So I did kind of
Right.
like that. I thought that was interesting. Um, Take a breath. Take a Breath is the only song on this album that feels like it could have possibly made it on Disambiguation.
Okay.
Like it could have been there. I could have seen that.
Okay.
Um We're All Gonna Die. The chorus, quote unquote, on that one is salvageable, I feel like. But aside from just little bits here and there, I also like kind of the creepy um synthy stuff that's going on I'm pretty sure I'm out of luck and have no friends. That song has some kind of cool elements to it.
Okay.
But yeah, aside from those like three or four, there's not much here.
Let me get your opinion on something real quick. There's a lot of profanity on this one. I mean, it's like he
It's
turned
just
up. Does it feel forced though?
yeah, it feels like a lot of forced, unnecessary
Yeah.
fucks that he's throwing around, and it
It's
just
like Oprah,
feels
bro.
it
You
just
good
kind of
one, and you good one, and you good
it just
one.
kind of feels that like now that they can, they're going to as much as possible, and it's like it's just tacky.
Yeah.
Like little bit of class, my man. Like we can
Have
throw them in
some
there.
classic
Yeah, we
dignity.
can throw them in there when it calls for it and sparingly, and then it will have more of an impact when you're trying to, at a point in a song that really deserves it. You know,
Hmm.
he's throwing around so many just like, oh, fucking this and fucking that. It's like,
Yeah. Me and Eric talked about that because Shane does that in Silverstein. He gets to like the last two or three albums, and it's like he doesn't do it as bad as Spencer's doing like on this, but he throws a couple out, and it's like even at that, we were both kind of like, that feels forced. It feels like he's put up like 15 years of like, I've never been able to say this, and now I want to say it. And that's what it feels like with this. It's
yeah,
like, well, I've never been able to say this, and now all of a sudden I'm free and I'm gonna say it as much as I want. It's like, okay, too much, bro.
yeah.
Yeah. So anyway. There is 2022's Virus from Fearless Records.
What a
Put that
disappointment.
on. What a disappointment. All right, about just over a year after the release of their newest album, controversy would strike as James Smith, guitarist, would announce that he had been fired from the band in the middle of the band's tour. Now, the band commented days later that both parties had split, and James Smith wasn't even on the with the band during that tour. which is true. I mean, he hadn't played any of the shows at the beginning of that tour, but I guess you've kind of finally just come out in the middle of it and say, hey, we're just not even with him anymore or whatever. I just I go back to though what I was saying earlier about so on Erase Me, he didn't record at all. He's credited with it, but he didn't record. Um, so it's kind of like, was there some stuff kind of already going on behind the scenes where it's like he's kind of distancing himself, or yeah, I don't know. I don't really know what's going on fully with that story. Um, but then I start to wonder. It's like, okay, Grant hasn't recorded bass on the last two albums. Is there is he's gonna be the next one to leave? Because it's kind of like, what are you doing then if you're not even contributing to? You're just a touring guy now at that point.
Yeah.
So it's kind of weird. So anyway,
I would venture to say that they're about done.
yeah, probably so. Please,
Just end it. Yeah.
just end it.
We should
Put
have
that
ended it after
horse out of its
Disambiguation.
misery. Yes.
You need to go out on
Yep.
top. You go out on an album like Radical, and then people can just praise you forever.
Mm-hmm. I
We
agree.
don't have
Man.
to talk about the shitty last album that disappointed
Well,
everybody.
hold on to your hat, Josh. Hold on to your beanie there, because the band has recently released two standalone singles. Is there an album to come? Who knows? Those two singles are entitled Let Go and Lifeline Drowning, where it kind of hinted on our thoughts of the future of the band. Once again, let us state it. You should have ended it after Disambiguation. I just don't. These two albums are just not for me personally. Yeah, should just let it go after Disambiguation and move on with your lives. But no, in the age of nostalgia, we gotta all get back together. So, yeah. Your current lineup for Underoath is Spencer Chamberlain on vocals, Timothy McTague on guitar, Grant Brandel on bass, Christopher Dudley on synth, and Aaron Gillespie on drums. Final thoughts, Josh, on the history and discography of Underoath.
Well, I will say on these two songs, Lifeline and Let Go, I at least hear Aaron singing in there. Yeah, I mean, I think you know my thoughts on this. The best block is going to be the middle period, which is they're only chasing safety through Disambiguation. Before that is going to be my runner up, which is that Cries of the Past through Where the Sun Sleeps, or yeah.
Are you talking about are you on the first album though? The very first one was
Changing of
Active
Times,
Depression.
my bad. Okay,
Okay.
Active Depression, Changing of Times, and or Cries of the Past. Good Lord. Active
We know what
Depression,
you mean,
Cries of the
yeah.
Past, Changing of Times. That block is going to be my runner up.
Okay.
And these last two are throwaway for me.
And that's it. Nobody else counts.
Yeah. For me, Underoath ended after Disambiguation. So
I'm with you there, buddy. I'm with you there. Yeah. All right, let's head on out, Josh. Make sure to follow us on Twitter at @IsSurvivedByPro for news and the latest episode postings, not just on this show, but our other shows as well. You have the History of the Cores After Hours podcast, where I sit down with my good friend and avid listener of this very podcast right here, Eric. And we talk about some of the bands me and Josh have already discussed. We just recorded a brand new episode, our longest yet, 2 hours. 2-hour episode, all about the band Silverstein. So make sure to check that out when it drops this upcoming week. A little Thanksgiving gift for you all. You also have the Red Right Hand podcast, which has covered all 6 seasons with a few historical episodes in between of the Peaky Blinders. And you also have the Throne of the Dragon podcast, which so far has covered season 1, soon to be season 2 of HBO's
very soon.
House of the Dragon. Very soon. Also, while you're on Twitter, make sure to follow my co-host at Joshua Lynn Gary. Make sure to leave us a 5-star review and write us a comment on whatever podcast service you're using. And if you want to listen to us and see our smiling faces, head on over to our YouTube page. Just search Is Survived by Productions, and that'll have every episode from all of our shows. Subscribe to the channel. Thumbs up the video. Alrighty. We'll see you in our next series. It's going to be a 3-parter. It's going to take us to the end of the year. It's the final band that we'll be looking at in 2023. The band from Columbus, Ohio, known as The Devil Wears Prada. Till then, we'll see you.